another thing I want to talk to you about, which is the whole concept of reviewing books. And I've been thinking about whether reviewing and rating books is actually a good idea. So in my sense, rating something means that you're assessing it, you're evaluating it, and hopefully you're spending time, hopefully you're spending time doing that in a responsible way. But what ends up happening when we rate books is that, we then put them into a hierarchy, and then people make decisions about whether they read those books or whether they buy those books based on what we have to say about those books, which is fine. I've been doing it for about a year on BookTube, and I get it. I understand its value, and I like bigging up the books that I like, and I like telling people that I think they should buy these books and support these authors. And I have no plans of discontinuing that. But I do notice that when I get into that judgmental zone of reviewing books and rating books, I miss things. And I've tried to cure this somewhat. I'm going to start walking. I've tried to cure this somewhat by focusing on having a better rating system, a more comprehensive rating system. And I haven't actually rated a book using that rating system yet, which I will. But I'm also thinking about whether I should be focusing more on how I'm responding to what I read. So what ideas does this book call up? What questions does it cause me to ask? How does this book encourage me or invite me to think about myself, think about the world differently? Because if what I'm saying is true, if I'm being authentic, that the reason I read science fiction in particular, and speculative fiction, to be very specific, the reason why I read that is because I'm unhappy with the way the world is. I'm unhappy with our political leadership. I'm unhappy with the ways that many of our religions are structured. I'm unhappy with the discrimination, the violence of this world. I'm unhappy with what we've done. And so speculative fiction and science fiction are genres that I find to be very hopeful and creative for people who are thinking about how to do this differently and taking responsibility for reshaping human relationships. So if that's the purpose of my reading, then how important is it that the plot was totally engaging, and how important is sentence structure, and how important is character development on their own? Isn't the better question, what did this book evoke for me? How does it contribute to the conversation? And what do we do with that? And I say that because, when I read reviews on Goodreads, sometimes they're so cruel and unfair. So for example, I was reading a review of She Would Be King by Y.A. Moore. And some of the reviews were great, and some of them were scathing. And the ones that were scathing I found really problematic, because readers were saying things like, ooh, the grammar was off, and she packed so many ideas into one sentence. And I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? So who cares? She also came up with an idea that no one else did, and she's critiqued colonization and colonialism in a way that no one before her had in a book like that. That's really valuable. That's 5 stars. And yeah, maybe she could have done it better in some areas, but so could Stephen King, and so could Ursula Le Guin, and so could George R.R. Martin, and Sarah J. Maas and all these other people we read. Well, that y'all read, I don't read. But, I mean, shouldn't we be asking the question, what did this book allow us to explore? And was that a valuable exploration? Isn't that the better question? I think so. Anyway, let me know your thoughts.